We've got the sandwich soundbite. Let's play it.
Let's go on and have the conversation.
I've just asked you whether or not it was a coincidence.
Had absolutely nothing to do with this. It's interesting that we're here about this money. Mr. Wade is used to women that, as he told me one time, the only thing a woman can do for him is make him a sandwich. We would have brutal arguments about the fact that I am your equal. I don't need anything from a man. A man is not a plan. A man is a companion. And so there was tension always in our relationship, which is why I would give him his money back. I don't need anybody to foot my bills. The only man who's ever foot my bills completely is my daddy.
Okay, so there it is. I get it. I kind of liked the soundbite overall. You know, I thought it was actually a pretty good moment for her, but I have to say, it was not a good moment for Nathan Wade. Right? Like, you're sitting there like, what do you mean only thing a woman can do for you is make you a sandwich? That's like, isn't that the misogynistic trope of like some jerk guys? You'll go up to him and be like, well, what about this? And they'll be like, make me a sandwich. This does not make Nathan Wade look good. But her whole point was to be like, I'm the fiery one and I would never take a man's money, notwithstanding all the evidence that she did. Okay, let's go back to her anger, because I liked that soundbite. I thought that worked. But she took the stand. Dave says correctly, she took the stand over counsel's objection. I mean, I think she knew she was going to the judge was going to make her take the stand, but whatever. She wanted to have this empowering moment, Mike. So she comes out there, guns blazing, attacks Ashley Merchant, the lawyer for Roman, and really starts to like lean into her anger in a way, again, I think is evidence of deception. But let's take a look at it. Watch.
I've been very anxious to have this conversation with him today. Mr. Wade is a Southern gentleman. Me, not so much. It's highly offensive when someone lies on you, and it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them, and I take exception to it. And I very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be here.
Not so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Ms. Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
Okay, here's a little bit more in SOT 12. Watch.
Your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
No, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Let me tell you guys something. I know the temptation is to be like, yeah, you go, girl, if you're on her side. But it's a classic deceptive tell when you attack the question or the questioner and sort of try to go on offense and turn it into a moment that works for you as like the fierce one in the chair. That's classic Phil Houston stuff. All this stuff is being done for a reason, to try to turn the tables, make her look like she's the righteous one, as opposed to what a truth teller would do, which is just use the words to answer the questions asked. And the judge kept saying to her, like, you're going to have a chance to make your arguments when you get, your lawyer up here who gets a chance to sort of, ask you questions. And she couldn't hold it together to the point where at one point, Mike, she lost it. And the judge was like, we're going to have to take a recess if you can't get it together. And he might strike her testimony, he said, if you can't, just answer the questions. Here it is in SOT 17.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at a place that you resided?
He has never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020 was before I knew that a phone call was going to be made and I was going to have to abandon my home. As a result thereof, he never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
In 2020, did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Okay. I don't understand. You're about to give me guidance. In 2020, I lived in South Fulton. Okay. That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my home in South Fulton, he never came there, okay? So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony.
She was literally shaking, Mike, as we saw her there. She just was not in control, and she was extremely emotional. And there's, I think, a reason for that. I don't think it was righteous indignation. I think she knew she's probably going to get booted off this case.
She knows she's caught, and she went out there in such a hurry and so angry. Megyn, does she have her dress on backwards?
There are a lot of people asking that question because the zipper's in the front. I don't know. Some dresses are like that.
Yeah, regardless, she did herself no good by coming out there being angry and indignant in that courtroom, because even this judge, who I think is, not exactly a fire-breathing Republican, kind of a soft judge, when you manage to piss off this judge, I think you've gone too far there, old Fani.
Yeah, she was, I don't know. You could see her fingers are shaking while she's out there, Dave, which is kind of surprising in somebody who's a DA. Yes, angry, but look, it could be because she's indignant, as you say, and it also could be because she is committing perjury. She's denying something she knows is true, and she's about to be publicly humiliated, already has been, and is going to get booted off of this case, the biggest case ever in Fulton County.
Well, I'm not a body language expert like the guy you spoke with, Megyn, but we all have our lived experiences and we see the world through them. And I, as a prosecutor, have been attacked when I prosecuted cases, and I see what she is saying, where it's not necessarily a lie when you say, "What you guys are the problem. You're the one who are the defendants, not me." I have been there and I felt that way before. And here's someone who had to abandon her home because of all the death threats she's receiving. And now she's being accused of essentially sleeping around and lying about it. So I can see why she's indignant about it.
Here's what Phil Houston said, just a little bit more color of what he, the former CAA guy, deception detection guy. She exhibited a very high volume of deception, combative, uncooperative. The most prevalent deceptive behaviors were both her verbal attacks directed toward her questioners and her failure to either directly answer some of these questions or answer them at all. In my opinion, she appears to be trying very hard to avoid identification of the source of the cash she gave to Mr. Wade. She was trying to prevent the questioner from pinning her down as to the nature of the physical contact she had with Mr. Wade. The objective of her aggressive behavior appears to reflect her attempt to preclude the prosecutors from eliciting any testimony from her that will conclusively lead to serious legal consequences. Perhaps one of her biggest concerns relates to whether or not the money she gave Mr. Wade was sourced from her government work. Her goal is to obfuscate and stymie the prosecutor's efforts to the degree that it becomes extraordinarily difficult for them to pin any serious wrongdoing on her. That's Phil Houston's take. With cyber attacks on the rise, protecting your data security is more important than ever. So why is Congress considering a bill that could put your credit card data at greater risk of being hacked and exposed to foreign networks? Our Advertiser, the Electronic Payments Coalition, says the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill shifts billions in consumer spending to less secure payment networks, all so that corporate megastores can make bigger profits. Find out more about the issue at electronicpaymentscoalition.org and decide for yourself if you would like to tell your senators to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.